So there, one of the biggest flagships to rival the iPhone has come out, and that is the Pixel 8 Pro. And today what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to do my first kind of comparisons of these phones here. I'm going to do probably not a full in-depth review of basically what the differences are here, because I do plan to actually show sort of main picture differences. Don't get me wrong, I'm actually going to do some picture tests and things like this between both of these phones, but the main thing I want to do today is an unboxing, and I also want to show the difference in how the phones look. Then after that, I actually do want to take some photos and some videos to see how good like the zoom capability is and how good photos are. And then after that, we'll also see how good, say, like just traditional benchmarking is on these phones. But like I said, I will hopefully make a more in-depth kind of review. But these are just like my sort of first impressions of the Pixel 8 Pro compared to the iPhone 15 Pro Max. And with that, let me get started then with the unboxing of the Pixel 8 Pro. So let's just do a quick unboxing here then. So we got the box here. It's very, very nice, clean white box here, giving all the details, showing the color of the Pixel 8 Pro on the front here, lots of barcodes and things like this. And very similar to like Apple do, you do have these sort of paper tabs that you can just rip off just like that. Let's get this one off too. There we go. Nice and easy. Nice eco-friendly box, as they say. Oh, yeah, that's a good feeling when you can do that. Yep, nice there. Nothing inside the top of the box. Let's just move that out of the way a second. Let's have a look then. So we've got the Pixel 8 Pro here. Well, hey. Oh, it is nice. Wow, that actually feels really nice on the back. And actually, the logo feels a bit different too. The G there for Google. That is really, really nice. Similar like to the iPhone. You've got the sticker here and how I just peeled it up. We'll have a look at that in a second. Let's see what else we've got in the box here. So we do have a USB-C to USB-C transfer cable there. And then obviously, you do also have one of these ones here as well to convert that to, I don't know why. Oh, I know why. Yeah, because you have another cable, say like an iPhone. They think that iPhone, for example, still come with a USB-A port at the end. They don't think you've got USB-C. So if you do have like an iPhone 13, you have to use your own cable there. I think USB-C to Lightning, because obviously, yeah, I think Google still think that iPhones provide the cable with a normal USB-A end. Bit weird just for that. And also many other manufacturers, mainly the USB-C to USB-C like that. What else we got here? So we got a little piece of paper here. Oh, it's instructions. I'm not even going to open that because, yeah, I just can't be bothered to have a look at that. But let's put that to one side. Let's go back to the phone there. So let's have a look here. The best moment, I think this is, where we get to peel off. Oh, yeah. That. Now, straight away, the first thing I've just noticed compared to the Pixel 7, and this wasn't really mentioned, it's a flat screen. We're back to flat screens, guys. It's about time, because I really am not a fan of the curved edges. I know it looks cool, but no, it's good to actually have a flat screen there. I'm just going to boot it up there, but overall, very, very nice finish. It does definitely feel premium, because there was a time where Google were going all plasticky and all of this, but that feels really nice. That back there does, and everything, and how it feels in the hand, it feels really, really nice too. Very nice and comfortable, actually. Yeah, definitely. I'd actually going to argue this feels actually a little bit more comfortable in my hand than even the iPhone with the improvements they've made there, mainly because you can see it's just so much more rounded. But there we go. I'm going to get this booted up, and I'm going to transfer all my bits and pieces over to this phone. And once that had completed, it was time to compare the iPhone 15 Pro Max to the Pixel 8 Pro. Right then, let's now do a comparison and see what these phones look like. Now, straight away, you can see I've got the always-on display on this phone. Now, the Pixel 8 Pro does have an always-on display, but I just haven't switched it on. Whereas the iPhone, by default, you just have it on, really. But let's have a look then. So, straight away, yeah, the body feel is very different. We do have that new Titanium 5 now, isn't it? Like a grade 5, whatever it's called, on the iPhone. Leaves 1,000,001 finger marks on it, as you can see. My lovely finger marks are all smudged all around it, but it does feel a far nicer metal so if I rub my thumb there, yeah, I definitely say in the feel of it, it feels much better in that kind of premium sort of way. But actually holding these in my hands, I'm actually going to say that, for example, that the Pixel 8 Pro here definitely feels far more comfortable in my hand by a long shot than what the iPhone does. Don't get me wrong, the iPhone 14 last year, oh, they were horrible as a whole. This is far better than we've got there. So yeah, the other thing obviously to notice straight away, so I turn on the screens here, we do have dynamic island, and we don't have that here with the actual Pixel 8 Pro. We just got the hole punch camera at the top. Obviously we've got sort of the finger scanner here in the middle to unlock the phone, and obviously everything like that's there. But obviously the screen sizes are very, very similar, and to be honest, even the bezels around the side of the Pixel 8 Pro, they're quite small this year, just like what the iPhone's ones are too. So the iPhone's ever so slightly more smaller, but it's very, very close. I would definitely say that. But then for buttons wise, buttons are similar. I'm going to flick the phone around this way. There's no buttons on one side of the Pixel whatsoever. You just got the SIM card slot, and obviously iPhone, you've got a SIM card slot if you are anywhere but the USA. So here I am in the UK, and we have got the SIM card slot. So just in case you're going, how on earth have you got one with a SIM card? Yeah, you just got to come out of America, basically. So yeah, we've got that. We've got the volume rockers, and we have that new action button too on the actual iPhone, where, like I said, no other buttons, but if we flip it over, bit of a different story here. This is where you've got just the power button here on the iPhone on this side, where you've just got the power button again on the Pixel, and then you've also got the volume rockers too here. But then if we actually sort of flick over the phone now, upside down, here, this is where we're going to see some differences in just the architecture. So obviously the camera lenses are in this sort of tri way how we had it since the iPhone 11 Pro and Pro Max. It's stepped the same. Obviously, it's got a lot bigger over the years for the iPhone. And then with the Pixel, they've had this band over the back here, and it looks pretty cool. Again, I like it how the blue sort of blends in there. And we have all the lenses in there as well. We have very, very similar lenses. We have 0.5. We have a 1 normal standard zoom, and that's the wide zoom, and then also we actually have that 5 times optical zoom as well. It's on both of these phones now this time around. The other thing just to mention, obviously you do have the LiDAR sensor right here, and also we do have our quadruple flash, but we also have a laser what's also inside of this phone right up about here. You can just see it right next to the last camera lens there. That's how it does its autofocus instead of LiDAR. But the other thing that's been added now is the thermometer here. I haven't played around with that. Don't know if it really does anything with the cameras. I don't think it does, but it is there on here. And then obviously you've got the flash too. The other cool thing I would actually say about all of this is that obviously with this kind of sort of way here with the cameras, if you put it down with no case, your phone is just going to rock constantly. See? I can just rock it. You can hear it on the table there. Whereas on this phone, with the Pixel, where you do have that band on the back, yeah, I can push it anywhere on the screen and it won't do it, apart from maybe flipping at the very, very top. But when are you going to do that, really? But it's definitely a better solution, in my opinion. I'm going to give points there, definitely, to the Pixel on the back in how it is. And the other cool thing I would actually say is that even when you hold your phone, for example, it's quite weird. You actually get used to this, that it's quite good to have kind of that sort of stopper that if you hold your phone like there, you can see it sort of holds in your fingers. It doesn't slide down. What's quite useful, really. You wouldn't believe it when you start to use it. At the bottom, let's have a look. We've got a very similar game now going on. We have USB-C on both of these phones, what is really, really cool. I'm so glad that Apple have joined the party at last. Maybe a bit of help from the EU there to push them and persuade them, but I'm glad it's actually finally come over. So yeah, not much difference there, but you can also just see here with the body that we have got more of a roundier sort of design. Reminds me of like the iPhone 11 sort of roundier design the Pixel has compared to the iPhone. And again, what I will just say with both of these phones is obviously they are very similar looking to their predecessors, as it were. So obviously this sort of design has come along since the iPhone 12 Pro Max, and we've had this design ever since the Pixel 6 Pro. So yeah, in designs, that is kind of the review there in how they look. Something else what I just didn't mention there is obviously both of these displays, they are pretty awesome, to be fair. So that one's just turned off there, and so is that one as well. But if I just turn them on there, they are really, really, really cool. This one here does have the ProMotion display, very similar to what we've had with, say, the iPhone 13 Pro models, or even, say, the iPhone 14 Pro models, because you can go from 1 Hz all the way up to 120 Hz. And it's the same here with Google and their AccuScreen, where you can go from 1 Hz all the way up to 120 Hz. There's not much difference there in the actual sort of screens, and you can imagine both of these are sort of those OLED displays in both of them, and they display very similar colors for both of the screens. So next of all, let's talk about the cameras, and this is where things get very interesting indeed for this. Let's talk about the iPhone 15 Pro Max. What we've actually got here, we've actually got the ultra wide inside this, what is a 12 megapixel sensor, and then we actually have the main sensor, what's a 48 megapixel sensor. But generally speaking, when photos are taken, they're using that 48 megapixels and they're binned down to 24 megapixels, give kind of that kind of crisper sort of pictures there. And then also we have that 5x zoom, what is also a 12 megapixel. So two 12 megapixels and the 48 megapixels inside this phone. But with the Pixel here, with the 8 Pro, things are very different indeed. So that ultra wide, what I just talked about, was 12 megapixel in the iPhone. It's actually a 48 inside this. Then the wide camera is actually a 50 megapixel, so just 2 megapixel more for that main kind of shooter. And then this is the best bit, I'd say, the telephoto. You know, it was 12 in this phone. Well, guess what? 48 in this one. Now obviously megapixels don't mean anything really too much these days, because back in the old days, you know, back in when we used first digital cameras, it was all about megapixels. It's all about the sensors, the lenses, and most importantly, it's also about the sorts of chipsets inside it. We've got the Tensor 3, and we have the A17 Pro, and those neural engine inside this, and also the artificial intelligence that's also inside this phone in that Tensor chip, doing all those working outs and those bits and pieces to sharpen up your picture, make them better, and everything like that. And I think the best way we can actually test this out is I'm going to go outside. I'm just looking outside, and it's just starting to rain. It looks like it was about to rain, so it's going to be a bit cloudy and a bit it's going to look like proper British weather. What you can imagine when you see Britain like on TV, it's going to look like that. That's what the kind of day it is today. But let's take this outside and let's just do a few quick tests. So I've got my Mickey Mouse here. He's going to be me today because I'm going to be taking pictures. And we're starting out here at a 0.5 zoom on the iPhone 15 Pro Max, going up to a 1x zoom, then to a 2x zoom, then the 5x zoom, and then I'm actually using the digital 10x zoom here, as you can see. Then we're going to now switch over to the Pixel. So here we are at 0.5, 1x zoom, 2x zoom, 5x zoom, and finally that digital 10x zoom. And let's just have a quick comparison here. Let's have a look at the 1x zoom here. Can you see the differences there and how it is? I think the cloud to me comes out a bit more better on the pixels, I'd say. And then let's do a zoom in here then of Mickey at 10 times the digital zoom. Can you see the differences there? It does actually, you can see quite a bit of difference, to be fair. I can spot them. But yeah, that's that. Moving over then, let's have a look then at a selfie picture here. So this is taking the selfie camera here on the iPhone 15 Pro Max as a portrait. And then we have one here taken on the Pixel 8 Pro as a portrait with a selfie. And there we go, here's them being compared again against each other. Which one do you prefer more? And now let's use the actual rear cameras for a portrait picture. Here I am again. Sadly, it's me. That's a Pixel next of all. And there we go, here's them both being compared again. Moving on, let's have a look then at a macro picture. So here we are with the iPhone 15 Pro Max. You can see a little bit of rain in that flag, it's like a drip inside it. And let's have a look then at the Pixel. And now let's compare them both together. Now let's just move on then. What I'm going to do then, I'm going to do a bit of video recording and I'm going to do some zooming next of all. And we're going to start out with the iPhone 15 Pro Max. So then, starting out here then with the zoom then on the iPhone 15 Pro Max, we're at 0.5 and I'm recording here at 4K 60 frames per second, and I'll be doing the same on the Pixel 8 Pro. It's a bit windy today, it's a bit dull, but let's zoom up then towards the tree. That is a 1x zoom, and we're still going here. We're now at 2.5, 3x zoom, 5x zoom now. So this is the actual secondary, the last lens 5x zoom. And we can keep on going all the way up to a 10x zoom there. And I can keep on going all the way up to a 15x zoom. That is the maximum I can do here on the 15 Pro Max. That's the quality you get at the total top digital zoom on it. So here we are then on the Google Pixel, and again we're at 0.5, and I'm going to start zooming up here. So we're already at 2x zoom. It jumped there very, very quickly. Keep on going. We can keep on going. We're at 5x zoom. We're still going. I think the lens just changed, so that was interesting. I'll go back again. You can see it just swaps over the camera. Not as smooth as the iPhone, but we're still going at 10x zoom here, and we're still going. We're now at the 15x zoom, the same what the iPhone can do, but we can actually keep on going all the way up to a 20x zoom. But that's how clear it is on this phone at 4K and 60 frames per second. So here we are then on the selfie camera on the iPhone 15 Pro Max, and it is a very dreary day today. And I will say this, you can't really see the clouds in the background just above my head up here. You can just make out it's just white, isn't it? It's just white blur. You can't really see the clouds, but obviously it's a very dreary day. It's raining and wet. But we're going to switch over to the Pixel 8 Pro and see what the differences are right there. And here we are then on the Pixel 8 Pro on this miserable day too. Very dreary. It's starting to rain. You know, my hair's getting all wet and everything, but at least you get to see more texture in my hair, I guess. But yeah, you get the idea. This is what it looks like then on the Pixel 8 Pro then, using the portrait mode, the selfie mode as it were, the selfie camera, to see how clear everything is. And there we have it, guys. Those are the photos and the videos that I've taken with both these phones. Now, obviously, I haven't done any nighttime photos yet. I do plan to do this, and also maybe some nighttime photography. But that actually leads me on to something what I want to talk about with the Pixel 8 Pro, more than the iPhone. Now, we have this big thing called feature drops now that happen on Google. Apple do the same with like iOS as well. So, you know, as much as we got iOS 17, we got that Journals app to come out in iOS 17.1. Never came out on day one, did it, with this iPhone? Well, even though we were promised it at WWDC. And it's the same here with Google with their sort of keynote as well. They've basically promised lots of new features. Now we have that sort of super zoom ability, and this is the ability where you can actually crop in on a photo you've taken, and then you'll be able to enhance it, as you can see right here. Obviously, we haven't got that yet. And then there's also this nighttime booster as well. You can see a sample of what it's going to look like. Again, I don't have it yet, and it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen in the future. Maybe what I need to do is probably wait till we're on like iOS 17.2 or 3, I don't know, and basically when those features have dropped here onto Android 14 on this phone, to see what they look like, because obviously those features are going to be around, because by then it will be a full rounded more package to see actually what's going on with this iPhone and also this Pixel, because we'll have all of those main features. And I'm sure Apple will probably update their photography apps with silent little updates and fixes to make things a little bit better along the way. So maybe I'll do a review probably in 6 months time to compare both the differences on that. And if you think I should do that, let me know in the comments below. Now, moving on, I'm going to talk about benchmarking. And one thing that a lot of people are going to be asking at this stage, what about battery life, Matt? Well, I will say this, that I had this phone, both these phones, fully charged up to 100%. And after doing both of those sort of video tests and photography tests as well, in total, my battery on my iPhone 15 Pro Max was at a total of 84%, whereas on the Pixel, funny enough, whether it's telling the truth or not, was actually on 91%. So we'll have to wait and see. Now, we've seen lots of other YouTubers out there saying about battery life that sometimes like the iPhone stays at 100% for longer, and then as it gets lower down, then it actually starts getting a proper true reading of the battery. And it might be here the same with the Pixel. It could be actually it's saying 92% when it's actually sitting at a true value of like say 71%, and it actually starts to slow down. I don't know. I think, you know, some other people are far better than me doing battery tests on drainage. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see on that. But off the record, just by doing those sort of photos and setting up everything, like I said, from 100% drain, I charged these up to 100%, then took them outside, did those videos, did those photos. It is quite interesting. The only other thing I will comment is obviously on my iPhone, I do have a few more apps running in the background because it's my primary phone, whereas this phone here doesn't have that. But to have that big difference in percentage, that is quite a lot, even with background apps. So yeah, I'm not too sure. We'll have to wait and see. But moving on, let's now talk about then benchmarking, and let's get the camera back over above the desk to have a look at these phones for that. So moving over then to these benchmarks, and just to show you here, I've got the iPhone 15 Pro Max, and then we've also got the Pixel 8 Pro. So what I'm actually going to run on this iPhone, I'm going to run Geekbench 6 and 3D Mark. Now you're probably going to be wondering about Antutu, if I said that correctly. I apologize if I haven't said that. I cannot get it to work on the Pixel. I've already tested it, maybe because it's so brand new. I don't know. It just won't work. But the other thing I will also mention about Geekbench and also 3D Mark, every time I go to the App Store to download it, it won't actually allow me to download it. So if I actually just show you just here by going into the Play Store here, obviously not the App Store, but say if I type in Geekbench here, if I click on that, as you can see here, it says, looking for Geekbench 6. This app won't work on your device. So I've had to use other means, as it were, to get it to work on this phone right here. But just to show you here, basically, I have got it to work on here. But what I will say is, obviously, maybe the actual app has not been fully optimized for the Tensor 3 chip just as of yet. So do bear that in mind. So without further ado, what I'm actually going to do is I'm actually going to open up Geekbench here. So we're going to open it on that one. I'm going to open it on this one right here. And as you can see here, we can run it here. We're going to run the CPU test first of all. So let's do the CPU benchmark. So we're going to press start on that one. We're going to press it on here. Go like that. And you know, big bets that obviously the A17 Pro is going to be leaps and bounds faster doing this test, mainly because the app has been optimized for this phone, where it hasn't been optimized for the Pixel 8 Pro just yet. Also, the sense as well that based on previous history, the Pixel's Tensor chip has always been slower than what Apple have with their A chip. So yeah, big bets that this is definitely going to come out in front. In fact, look at that. You can see here, this has actually got 3% done. And I can't guess what that is, but I would say it's easily 10% done here already on the iPhone. But we'll let this run and let's see what the results are then at the end. And the results are in. And really, yeah, is there any surprise here with the results? Like I said, single core score, you know, we're talking almost double the performance of what we get in multi-core, wherever you are in the world, of what you got on the Pixel 8 Pro. Same here. It's just absolutely crazy. It's like double just for everything. But at the end of the day, these boards, the actual chips, the A17 Pro and the Tensor 3 chip, they are built very, very differently. You know, even if I scroll down here, you see the clusters here. So for example, the Apple's iPhones, what they normally have with the A chip, they normally have 2 performance cores, and then also they have 4 efficiency cores there. Whereas, as you can see right here, what we actually have is actually 3 different clusters. We have sort of low cores, medium cores, and then we have 1 performance core. It's a very different way of how everything is built up on this. Now, the one thing I would say, obviously, everyone's going to say, well, obviously, this is way faster than the iPhone, and obviously Google's one here. But Google also mention to themselves and to other people that at the end of the day, you're going to have a lot of those apps that you're just really going to be using a low amount of cores, a low amount of performance, like your social media, your Instagram, your TikTok, your YouTube, like what you're watching right now. If you're watching it on a phone, it's not going to use a lot of performance. So this is why they have this sort of cluster 1 cores. It doesn't really need to have it. At the end of the day, as much as this phone here is the Ferrari or the Lamborghini of speed or whatever you want to call it, and this one here might just be a standard, I don't know, just a bog standard Toyota. At the end of the day, what they know is that, for example, is that if people who buy Toyotas, they know that if you're going to drive it through, let's say a Prius, you're going to drive it through New York, you're not going to get through up to higher than, say, 12 miles per hour if you're lucky, generally driving through the middle of that. Why do you need something so fast if you can't really stretch its legs? Well, the majority of people are not going to stretch its legs, and they know this, Google. So that's their approach on taking this. And don't get me wrong, like I said, it's not slow at all on here from what I've been using it, and other Pixels I've used in the past, they are really, really quick. But just to show you here in results though, just even on the single core, you can see here that, you know, it's still way behind like even the Galaxy S23 Ultra. You know, the Galaxy S24 Ultra is coming out soon. We are, you know, a few months away from that, and we're still actually behind that. In fact, if we look at the scoring here, we're just actually slightly ahead of the Galaxy Fold 4, for example, and that was with the 8+1 Gen 1 chipset, not even that. So we're just a little bit more quicker there, but you can see here compared to, say, the Galaxy or the Google Pixel 7 Pro, we are a little bit more quicker. But even here with multi-core scoring, again, same sort of thing. We are a bit behind the line. In fact, if you actually compare, say, the multi-core score to what we have here with Apple, what's quite interesting is that it's basically probably just a little bit slower than iPhone 12, for example, which right here. And I've got an iPhone 12 Pro Max just to show you. And this came out in 2020. And this is the Tensor chipset here. Obviously, it is actually slower than what you've got in here. And I think this came with the A14 chipset inside this phone. And actually, it's slightly slower inside it. But there again, like I said, if you're using an iPhone 12 right now, it's not going to be slow, is it? It's quite snappy and everything. And obviously the way how the operating systems are built up from the ground, they're very different on both of these phones and how they operate. And they have both different approaches in how they want their phones to work and what they consider is fast in their opinions. But there we go, guys. Those are my first impressions then of the new Pixel 8 Pro compared to the iPhone 15 Pro Max. What do you think? Do you think they're both great phones this year? I'd love to know your opinion. So make sure you put them down in the comments below. And also, guys, at the same time as well, if you have enjoyed watching this video, make sure you subscribe and also hit that notification bell. Until next time, guys, I'll see you really soon. Take care. Bye bye.